Hello, friend. This is Ryan Hicks of TalkToProfit.com, and today I want to talk about how the undisciplined man can never be happy and at peace. I once heard a great definition of discipline from my friend Bob Proctor, and it went like this: decision without discipline it probably turns into wishing. Discipline is to give yourself a command and then follow it. It's the ability to give yourself a command and then follow it. That definition, which is a little bit different than the dictionary definition, there's so much importance in that. First thing is the decision, because a lot of people make decisions. You see this every year around New Year's when they make New Year's resolutions. They make a decision, but they lack the discipline to follow through on it and actually take some action, or they only have a little bit of discipline, so they take action for a few weeks and then they give up. So it turns into wishing. But furthermore, in life, if you're going to get anything done, you have to be disciplined with yourself. You have to be able to give commands. And what this means is that sometimes there's self-sacrifice. Sometimes there are times of discomfort. The love of ease and the love of just pleasure has crushed so many dreams over the years because people have given themselves over to all kinds of pleasures in life. And I'm not talking about hedonism, but just things that seem all right. The world's entertainment is a huge one because it paralyzes so many people from taking action. Well, I'd love to work on my business right now, but I got this show I want to watch, or there's a sporting event coming up, or there's this game I want to play. Oh, did you see the new add-on came for my game? I'm going to play that tonight. Their lives are being lived overflowing with pleasures, and yet they are more miserable than human beings have been at any time in human history. People used to struggle desperately. The wife was busy making clothing because they couldn't go to the store and buy clothing. She was making the food. The man was out farming and doing all kinds of stuff. The children had to help on the farm. Everybody was working, and this was just to survive. They weren't really thriving in many cases. And yet, they were happier by every metric than the people today who have everything. And if they want food, they can go and in 130 seconds have microwave food and start eating. They don't have to grow crops. They don't have to till soil. They don't have to do anything. They don't even have to go to the store. They can just have people bring food to them. This sounds good. This sounds like this would be a benefit to humanity. This would make things better, but it doesn't. Because one of the underlying principles is that you have to be able to endure some adversity in life. Look at the seed in the ground. It has some adversity to grow and to break through that ground. Any kind of success in life takes some adversity. I'm not saying life has to be hard and everything's so difficult and it's so much suffering. Nothing like that. But there will be times where you don't know exactly what to do. But you need to keep doing what you're doing and keep pushing forward. There will be times you do know what to do, but it's not what you want to do. But you do it and you move forward because you're disciplined. And that will bring you more happiness. And I'm going to tell you something that is very important, that people can't understand this if they're stuck over in this mentality of just endless pleasure and entertainment, stuffing themselves full of food. All these things to try to get some happiness externally, and none of it works. Because you're going to get the most fulfillment. You're going to feel the most happy when you're productive and active and disciplined in your life. If you aren't giving yourself commands and then following through with it, those decisions you've made just become wishes. Useless wishes. No different than the child throwing money into a wishing fountain, wishing for something, or blowing out a birthday candle and wishing for some wish to happen that never does. Yours is just the adult version, the more grown-up version, the more publicly acceptable version, but it's the same useless activity. You must be disciplined. And the discipline is not coming externally. It's not other people disciplining you. It's you disciplining yourself. Not beating yourself up or any nonsense like that, where most people will take the word discipline to. It's you giving yourself a command and then following it. Sometimes people ask me, well, don't you ever get discouraged, Ryan? Don't you ever feel like not doing the things you want to do? Well, I don't get discouraged easily. I think that's a weakness in many people because they don't have the discipline and they're expecting something from their day's activities that probably isn't right to even expect. Like just this eternal joy and happiness coming from the external activities. It has to come from within you. It has to be a choice. But are there things I don't feel like doing? Are there days I don't feel like doing the things I need to do? Of course. Do I do them? Of course. Because that is part of discipline. I know I got this thing I need to do. I told myself I'm going to do it. I made a decision to do it. So I do it. Doesn't matter what I feel like. Doesn't matter if I get hit by a car that morning. If I have to crawl to my office and do the things I need to do, I'm going to do it. And this is not, oh, that's workaholic, or that's too hard. You're being too. You need to give yourself some grace and all this nonsense people talk about. It's easier. It's an easier life being disciplined. And people who are undisciplined, who are lazy, who are indolent, who refuse to do the things they need to do, or who do them at the very last minute because they have to. So they have an external event forcing them to do it. A timeline, or I got to have this done before my boss will fire me. Something like that. When you do things by your own discipline, by your own choice, because you made a decision to do something, you made a decision to accomplish some goal, to achieve something, and you discipline yourself to do the commands that you've given yourself, you will feel so much better. You'll be so much more at peace. That happiness that resonates within you and overflows out of you will naturally appear. And many people can't understand this because they expect the happiness to come from the latest video game they play, from the newest TV series they watch, from the newest movie they go view, from the new restaurant they go and eat at. It's all these other things that are causing them to be happy temporarily. And if they don't feel like doing something, they don't do it. And they pat themselves in the back like that's some sort of self-care. No, it's self-destruction. Too many people are giving themselves so many breaks, so much ease, so much love of pleasure, and so little discipline that their lives are miserable. And they think, well, just one more movie, I'll be happy. One more video game. One more add-on pack to my stupid video game. Then I'll be happy. One more sporting event. And it never comes. It's always one more. It'll never happen. That's why people will binge watch an entire TV series and they feel miserable at the end of it because they've accomplished nothing and their life is not better and they're not happy and there's no more peace and there's no more joy. There's nothing good coming from that. The world sells you that bill of goods and it's not for the believer. If you're following Jesus Christ, you must be a disciplined person. The laziness that rules so many professing Christians has nothing to do with following Jesus. It's people who refuse to repent and believe the gospel. They refuse to get disciplined. They refuse to actually have some self-discipline, some self-control, which is one of the fruit of the Spirit. The fact that many people don't understand this is a testimony by themselves, against themselves, testifying that they're not even in the faith. Because one of the fruit of the Spirit naturally occurring is self-control, is temperance. And if you don't have that, you're unable to be self-controlled, something's seriously wrong, my friend. And this is not an attack, this is not a judgment, this is a wake-up call if that's you, if you're in that position. Because listen, I get it. You were probably raised from early on, taught to do these things, taught these are the ways to get some happiness in life. Going to the next game, watching videos, nowadays social media, playing video games, all these things you're told these are good, these are beneficial to your life. These are actually reasons to live. Something to look forward to at the end of the day. Instead of more activity, more productivity, doing more. You were taught against a good work ethic. Oh yeah, sure, you go work your 8 hours at some job you hate, but you don't come home and do work. No, come on, you don't want to be a workaholic. Have a beer, watch the news, play some video games, watch some sports. Don't be ridiculous. You don't want to be a workaholic. It's nonsense, my friend. It sounds good on the surface. It appeals to that lazy, fleshly spirit that many people are flowing in. But it's against the Spirit of God. It shows a lack of the fruit of the Spirit and a lack of the grace of God. So I want to encourage you today. Are there things you need to do and you don't feel like doing them? Everybody has that. The most successful people in the world aren't successful because they never have moments where they don't want to do things that they need to do. It's because even if they have those moments, it doesn't change the fact that they're resolute in their decision to do this thing, and they're disciplined enough to do the command they give themselves. Doesn't matter what they feel like. Doesn't matter what somebody else said. Doesn't matter if they're going to miss some dumb sporting event. Doesn't matter if you're going to miss the newest movie or video game. None of that matters. They're disciplined, they have self-control, and they're going to do the things they need to do because it is the right thing to do, and it's going to lead them another step closer to achieving their goals in life. And that, my friends, is very simple, and I hope that you'll take that lesson and really give yourself some commands, and then show yourself to be that disciplined person, flowing in the fruit of the Spirit, operating in self-control and discipline and commanding yourself and following it to the letter. My friend, I pray this is a blessing for you. May God bless you richly.